Last night, Don Jr. tweeted a picture of his young daughter holding her candy bucket and said, "I'm going to take half of her candy tonight and give it to some kid who sat at home. It's never too early to teach her about socialism." Yes, it's never too early to teach kids the danger of sharing.
So this is the quintessential
How did we get there?
leftist argument right away. They care and you don't, right? They're compassionate and you're not.
Hear this! Among my people, we carry many such words as this from many lands.
On Halloween, kids literally go door to door to get free candy from the neighbors because the kids don't have it and the neighbors do. That's socialism.
No, it's not. No, it's not that. Why? The kids create or purchase costumes, and for an entire evening they walk door to door tirelessly, and they're rewarded for their activity with candy. That's called work.
Yeah, and the only way this actually works is if that fat kid sits at home, does nothing, no costume, and makes everybody come and bring candy to him. Yeah. That's the only way that's actually socialism.
Look at these 3 words written larger than the rest, with a special pride never written before or since. Tall words, proudly saying, "We the people."
Because the kids don't have it and the neighbors do. That's socialism.
This is such a misread of socialism, it's quite astonishing. So first of all, Halloween is not socialism, and sharing is not socialism. Voluntary sharing is not socialism. Okay, voluntary sharing is not socialism. It's called charity. We do it all the time. Okay, when you give out candy on Halloween, you're not being a socialist, you are sharing things. Okay, socialism is when the government forces you to share things. Socialism is when the government comes in and mandates that you share your candy, Stephen Colbert, you stupid idiot. Okay, the idea that socialism is just sharing is belied by, the 100 million dead people over the last century who failed to share voluntarily enough and therefore were taken off to the gulags or shot in mass graves. So no, not quite the same thing.
No child in the history of childing has ever voluntarily missed Halloween. I'm worried that kid didn't go out. Why? Is he okay? Is that child caring for a sick parent? You know what would be a nice thing to do? Give him half your Halloween candy.
Okay, Republicans give more to charity, they volunteer more of their time, and they give more blood. Not only that, Republicans are better tippers, which we've written about, of course. Bernie Sanders never tips above 18% on the dot.
In order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility.
It's far more likely that a kid isn't out trick-or-treating because he chose not to. Right. Either because he chose not to through inaction, through not being prepared, or he just decided he wasn't going to go trick-or-treating, he was going to rely on somebody else to do it. The same can be said for adults benefiting from socialism.
Provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty.
Good example, Sweden, where only 0.3% of refugees work. Had to get that dig in there. We have, here in the U.S., a National Bureau of Economic Research study concluded that in the mid-90s, the welfare reforms actually could explain about 50% of the decline in desire to work among non-participants, meaning people who are not in the workforce. So here's the thing, when you just give somebody stuff, I know it sounds like a logical reach, they just rely on you giving them stuff.
For ourselves and our posterity.
Next clip, and it's disturbing.
We need to be talking about things like universal health care, which would be a lifesaver for working people. Socialist ideas outlined by the authors of Das Kapital, Karl Marx, and Frederick Skittles, or as you dum-dums like to call them, nerds.
Oh my God. No, we don't call them nerds, we call them communists.
Yes.
Communists. Hardcore
He literally uses
communists.
Karl Marx as a positive example.
You don't want to do that.
And I was kind of confused with the Frederick, I think he means Frederick Engels.
Engels.
Yeah.
The guy
who was the guy who helped, obviously, found Marxist theory.
I had to dig in and find out. I'm like, who is this Frederick guy? And then I realized, this is like someone who's really in the know of communists knows Frederick.
To ordain and establish this Constitution.
So to me, when I look at this and think, okay, Colbert went after a tweet from Donald Trump Jr. about a metaphor that we all know can break down at some point. This tells me he really had socialism on the brain and really wanted to get just an opportunity that he's been looking for. Hey, writers, any opportunity to plug socialism? Have you got any opportunity? Is there open door there? Yeah. Has it presented itself? Because I really want to get to socialism. He's passionate about socialism. This just happened to be his avenue in.
I'm really hoping that our Halloween specials where I finally get to fit in my love for Karl Marx and Frederick Engels.
These words and the words that follow were not written only for the Yangs, but for the Calms as well.
The Calms?
They must apply to everyone, or they mean nothing. Do you understand?
Pretty sure Stephen Colbert is pro-communism.
Why would you like these guys? They almost destroyed the world a couple of times over.
I do not fully understand one named Kirk, but the holy words will be obeyed. I swear it.
As far as this idea that, there's a poor child in need, and so you should really give that child half your candy, again, that's up to me. I may agree with you, Stephen Colbert, but the idea that Donald Trump Jr.'s daughter should have to give half her candy, I think that the better plan there would probably be for Donald Trump Jr.'s very wealthy man to get that kid some candy if that kid needs charity. But I'm not going to enforce it with the power of government. So again, the deliberate misread on socialism here is pretty astonishing, and it just shows how the left thinks about socialism. They think about it as a benevolent, wonderful thing that really has no downside, except for the whole, we have to shoot people if they refuse to abide by my version of what charity ought to constitute.
Down the centuries, you have slurred the meaning out of the words, we, the people of the United States.
If we really want to help solve poverty, okay, which is what the whole Colbert thing is, this whole premise is you don't care about the poor, it's only, okay. Avoiding poverty is pretty simple. Ben Shapiro's talked about this, we've talked about this for years. Finish high school, don't do drugs, get married, and stay married. Not only will you not be poor, but the statistical likelihood of your kids being poor is next to nil. The statistical likelihood of your kid finishing school, going to college, getting a job, getting married, whether he ends up in prison is, are mommy and daddy married and is daddy still in the house? Okay?
Yeah. How dare you make sense?
That requires a moral judgment.
Bastard.
People are perpetually poor because rather than tell the truth, the left gives a handout.
Yeah.
The truth is, if that kid didn't go out door to door, again, let's disregard the extreme examples, right? The kid who looks like Charlie Brown progeria, okay, fine. Yeah. We'll give him anything he wants. Okay? He's going to get a Make-A-Wish. We're going to fix that one.
King-size bars. Get it.
But it's going to be charity. You're not going to steal it from me to give it to him.
Right. That's a good
voluntary.
point. Yes. But most kids just didn't go door to door for that candy. Okay? Right. The fact is he doesn't deserve it. And you're virtue signaling.
Not at all.
Compassion doesn't change it. Scenario one. All right, that kid who didn't get the candy, right? Stephen Colbert says, just give him the candy. Kid's bummed that he didn't get any candy. And he turns it around for next year. Scenario one says, I really, this was bummed. This was a bummer. I should go door to door. I missed a lot of fun and candy. Next year, gets a costume, hits the road. Big year. 2 trash bags full of candy.
No question about his guilt, Captain. But does our involvement here also constitute a violation of the Prime Directive?
We merely showed them the meaning of what they were fighting for.
Scenario 2. That kid's bummed that he didn't get his candy, okay? So he stays home. Instead, a parent steals it from some other kid and gives it to him because compassion. And that parent promises him that he'll do the same thing next year and the next year and the year after that. What do you think happens to that kid? Worse, what do you think happens to the kid who actually went door to door and hit the pavement only to have half of his stuff taken? And he knows that you're going to take half that stuff next year and the next year and the next. Eventually, that kid is going to give up. And that's this issue, this fake victim culture. Well, how about the nice thing is just give the kid the candy? It's free.
Liberty and freedom have to be more than just words.
Because when it's free and available to everyone, they still feel the need to redistribute.
Gentlemen, the fighting is over here. I suggest we leave them to discover their history and their liberty.
I think you'd be like, okay, listen, guys, all right, yeah, we'll take this stuff because these are elitists.
The easiest one.
But listen, come on, this is like, it's free. Just go out, bang on a few doors. You don't need us to do that for you, do you?